Football, Ronaldo leaves the team, I become Real Madrid's top card. Chapter 21. On the day of the game. Castilla plays at home against Cerceda. Perhaps for Spanish football, it was just an ordinary day. Even though Castilla's results have been very good recently, it is only a match in the second division. But in China, this game has a different meaning. At this time, it was 2:30 in the morning, and unknown Chinese fans were guarding the net, waiting to watch the live broadcast of the game. In the last game, although the Chinese fans did not see Lin Chen, the news that there was a live broadcast of Castilla on the internet spread all over the place. After a week of spreading this news, most of the fans who followed Lin Chen knew about the live broadcast room of Firebird Football. So before the game started, there were already nearly 40,000 people online in the Firebird Football live broadcast room. But at this time, there seemed to be some small accidents in the live broadcast room, and the game screen never loaded. Hurry up. Hurry up. Okay, no. Big streamer. Intensify your efforts. I can't wait. Labor and management stayed up until 2:30, and you let me see the black screen? The fans in the live broadcast room may have waited too long, and they were already a little impatient at this time. The Firebird football anchor was also anxiously debugging the software, and finally at the beginning of the game, the live broadcast room smoothly displayed the game screen of Castilla. The anchor of Firebird football also breathed a sigh of relief. If he released the fan pigeons, it is estimated that he will not be able to mix in the Chinese football circle in the future. April 7th. Madrid is 7:30 p.m. local time. Castilla faces visiting Cerceda at the Di Stefano Stadium. By this time, nearly 9,000 seats in the stadium had been filled by Castilla fans. As the music sounded, Lin Chen followed his teammates out of the player tunnel. Under the dazzling lights, Lin Chen was adapting to the light of the stadium. Suddenly, in the noisy stadium, a familiar voice came from the stands. Lin Chen. Chinese fans? Lin Chen reacted immediately, and then looked at the source of the voice. I saw 3 young Chinese people standing in the stands, shouting to themselves. This is the first time that Lin Chen has seen Chinese fans supporting him at the scene, and what made Lin Chen pay attention even more. The red flag held high among these fans. The moment Lin Chen saw the flag, his nose was a little sour. In the European arena, Lin Chen finally saw this flag. Come on. You are the hope of our entire village. After that, the 3 Chinese fans shouted to Lin Chen again. At this time, the Chinese fans who were watching the live broadcast seemed to be touched by the emotions in their hearts, and they were also in tears. It's big when it comes up, and I'm crying. Labor and management are here to watch the ball, not to stir up emotions. This is a real Iron fan, directly watch Lin Chen play football on the spot. No, I can't help it, it makes my heart feel uncomfortable and happy. The anchor who was broadcasting the game also sighed a little at this time. It's hard not to touch this scene. I don't know how long it has been since I saw this flag in Europe again, even if it was only in the West B field. Perhaps to record this very memorable moment. Many viewers who were watching the live broadcast took a screenshot of this scene and then sent it out. Perhaps Chinese fans have not seen this flag appear in Europe for too long, so once the picture was sent, it immediately caused a sensation in football circles. For a while, various football forums, fan groups, and even friend circles were circulating this picture. Many fans who saw the screenshot were also aroused by curiosity and asked what kind of game it was. When it was learned that there were Chinese players playing in Castilla and scoring 11 goals in 3 games, everyone was not calm. Huagua still has such a powerful player? In order to seek the truth, many fans who did not know Lin Chen before flocked to the live broadcast room of the Nets to watch the game. For a while, the traffic in the live broadcast room of Firebird Football surged, and the number of online people directly exceeded 10,000. Perhaps the number of spectators is too large, resulting in abnormal stuttering of the live broadcast screen. The background inspectors who know the net also discovered this situation for the first time. What's the situation? Which league played the national derby today? Why is the live line using so much traffic? When the backstage personnel followed the data to find the live broadcast room of Firebird Football, they were immediately startled. 100,000 people online. Just to watch a game of West BB, the staff who know the net felt for a moment that the Chinese fans were crazy. But when he learned that there were Chinese players starting, he immediately understood the madness of the fans. But then the staff realized something was wrong. This is piracy. If the number of people is small, it may not make any difference, but at this time, there are already 100,000 people online in the live broadcast room, and the number of viewers is still growing. Thinking of this, the staff suddenly felt that this matter was too big, and hurriedly reported it to the top management. When the top management of the Understanding Net learned the news, they were also frightened, and hurriedly asked the staff to cut off the live broadcast signal of Firebird football. Immediately, the high level who understood the ball net side a little, Lin Chen's influence in China was too great. Chapter 22. As soon as the live broadcast of the net was cut off, the Chinese fans suddenly stopped working. What's the situation? I didn't sleep in the middle of the night just to watch Lin Chen's game, but now that the game has just started, I can't watch it anymore. Angry fans kept venting their emotions in the live broadcast room that had been shown to be closed, and the Firebird football anchor also hurriedly posted a message in response. I'm really sorry everyone, I didn't expect so many people. I understand that the net is no longer allowed to broadcast. If you still want to watch the game, you can go here directly. Below is the link to the Match of the West BB live channel. Seeing this, Chinese fans could only leave disappointed, but some fans who knew how to surf the internet scientifically were ready to continue watching the game. Madrid. Amid the cheers of the fans, the game officially began. Castilla continued the formation of the previous game, with no personnel changes in other positions except for Fidalgo in the front line instead of Pedro. Castilla kicked off first, and after the start of the game, Castilla continued to attack the visiting team. Sione wanted to find Lin Chen as soon as he took the ball, and now Lin Chen can be said to be the most trusted player of Sione in the team. As long as he gives the ball to Lin Chen, then he will definitely be able to score. After receiving the ball in the middle circle, Lin Chen did not directly choose to give the ball to the fullbacks inserted on the wing, but chose to continue to advance with the ball. Or because the Cerceda team was attracted too much attention by the forward center, and at this time Lin Chen only had one of the opposing midfielders, Sands. Subsequently, Lin Chen once again showed his newly improved dribbling ability, and his legs kept switching back and forth above the ball. Bike. Lin Chen did not choose to give the ball to his teammates in the face of Sands' defense, but played fancy moves. This operation also made the commentator a little unexpected. After all, in the previous game, Lin Chen's simple and violent goals could only be seen even if there were dribbles, but not very much. After Sands failed to make a tackle, Lin Chen also broke into the periphery of the big penalty area line. At this time, the back of the Cerceda team was also ready to step forward to intercept after seeing Lin Chen break through Sands. Facing the defense of the opponent's back, Lin Chen leaned on the defender with his body outside the line of the big penalty area, and then a dexterous reincarnation burst into the big penalty area. But Cerceda did not give Lin Chen a chance to shoot with his feet on goal, and the two central defenders quickly returned to their positions. Seeing this, Lin Chen had to continue to dribble the ball, moving towards the edge of the penalty area, and finally when he was about to jump out of the penalty area line, Lin Chen flashed out of position to shoot. Perhaps because the angle is too much to be tricky, the ball grazed the goalpost and flew out of the bottom line. Despite this, Cerceda's goalkeeper Orlo was shocked into a cold sweat. In fact, before the game, the players of the Cerceda team had learned from the head coach that Castilla had a very threatening striker, and made a targeted arrangement for Lin Chen. At first, Cerceda's players did not think that Lin Chen was difficult to solve, although the first 3 games showed their terrifying goal-scoring efficiency, but mostly against the youth team. But when he saw Lin Chen facing such an amazing performance against an adult team like Paul Scares, Cerceda's players gradually put away their contempt. Although I had already prepared my heart, I was almost broken at the beginning, which was still a little unexpected. The players of Cerceda really felt Lin Chen's threat at this time. Although the goal was not scored, the quality of the shot was also very high, and the Castilla fans did not skimp on their applause. And the fans know in their hearts that for a high school striker like Lin Chen, it is already rare to have such dribbling skills. And Lin Chen also had some regrets after not scoring the goal. After all, in the big penalty area, there is only a 60% probability of scoring. Soon, the game came to the 10th minute. After breaking through on the wing, Rodriguez saw that Lin Chen was already in position in the box and passed the ball directly into the box. Even though Lin Chen was in the bag of Cerceda's 2 central defenders, he showed his good skills. Header on goal. The ball is rubbed backwards and then into the net. 1-0. Just 10 minutes into the game, Castile took the lead. Castilla's fans cheered Lin Chen's performance. For a moment, the fans of Castilla even felt that as long as Lin Chen was there was no game that could not be won. At this time, the Chinese fans who were watching the live broadcast, although the picture quality was not particularly clear for various reasons, but when they saw Lin Chen's header and scored, all the Chinese fans who were watching the live broadcast cheered one after another. Court sidelines. Raul also applauded and congratulated Lin Chen. After the first 3 games, Raul knew in his heart that the Cerceda team would definitely defend Lin Chen more strictly. Even under this situation, Lin Chen can tenaciously break through the encirclement of the opponent and score the ball. At this time, Raul only had his appreciation for Lin Chen left in his heart. Such a player is simply a crime not to put on the fans of Real Madrid. Chapter 23. Castilla's fans also cheered for Lin Chen's wonderful performance. Since Alvaro Morata entered the first team in the 13th season, they have not seen such a good player, a talented striker, in Real Madrid's youth academy for a long time. Even in the stands, Lin Chen heard some fans shouting that he should enter the first team to play games. For this kind of shout, Lin Chen only hoped for a little more. But in fact, what Lin Chen didn't know was that he didn't enter the first team because of his strength. At this time, Real Madrid were playing in the Champions League. 3 days ago, Real Madrid away to Juventus, Cristiano Ronaldo scored twice and gave a barb to the world wave. But the news that Ronaldo is leaving, after half a season of fermentation, is also noisy. It is rumored that the closest link with Cristiano Ronaldo is Juventus, who is just defeated. As Real Madrid's best striker and the only 2 kings in football, Real Madrid fans can hardly imagine what it will be like for Real Madrid to lose Ronaldo. And the president Florentino did not show any intention of holding back Cristiano Ronaldo's departure, and the help of Bale has now become the main task of the club. But Bale did not show what Real Madrid expected of him, and he played a whole cold bench on the bench last game. Ronaldo left, Bale is difficult to use. In the face of Real Madrid's situation, fans also very much hope that there will be another player who can resist the attack banner of Real Madrid. And Lin Chen, who has recently risen suddenly, has also pinned on the hopes of Real Madrid fans. The game continues. Although they scored a goal in less than 10 minutes into the opening game, the Cerceda team did not lose heart. Under the instructions of the head coach Sith, the team began to counterattack. After all, it is an adult team, and Castilla's backline is somewhat difficult to resist in the face of the impact of the Cerceda team. Under the high-pressure pressing of the Cerceda team, central defender Adrian accidentally stopped the ball, and the striker Tonal of the Cerceda team did not miss the opportunity and directly snatched the ball. A long-range shot then equalized the scoreline. Court sidelines. Raul is very unhappy with the team's current defense, although he is facing an adult team, but the situation is no longer a defensive problem. Perhaps Lin Chen's performance in the first few games was too good, resulting in the backcourt players having no defensive tasks at all, and now in the face of the counterattack of the Cerceda team, the players are a little panicked with the ball. Concentrate. Are you sleepwalking now? Raul shouted a reprimand to the players on the sidelines. Captain Sioni walked up to Adrian, patted the latter's shoulder and comforted. Take courage, with Lin Chen here, we can get the game if we defend well. Adrian nodded sharply after hearing this, and then assured the captain, Sioni, that he would concentrate. I don't know when, Lin Chen became the biggest source of courage in the hearts of Castilla players. The game starts again. Castilla faced the counterattack of the Cerceda team, opting to fight back toughly. The 2 teams went back and forth on the pitch, the ball kept moving, and the ball was constantly switching, which made the fans in the stands also addicted. 12th minute of the game. Castilla's counterattack finally paid off. Sioni picked up the ball in midfield and handed it to the feet of right-winger Alex, who went on a rampage along the touchline near the baseline. Then Alex glanced at Lin Chen's position, and after making sure that Lin Chen was already in position, he directly kicked the ball up. Perhaps because Castilla was so fast on the counterattack this time, there were only 2 Cerceda centre-backs in the box. Lin Chen also seized the defensive gap of the Cerceda team this time and scored the ball with his head again. 2-1. The score is leading again. Boom. The fans of Castile have been completely conquered by Lin Chen at this time. The Di Stefano Stadium has gone crazy at this point. The fans gave a standing ovation. How could they not love Lin Chen? In just 2 minutes, the equalizer Cerceda team was given a head-on blow, and in the face of Lin Chen, the opposing players seemed to not know how to defend. On the sidelines, the head coach of the Cercidia team, Sith, who was just happy about the team's equalizer, suddenly turned black at this moment and angrily kicked the mineral water bottle to the side. On the field, the players of the Cercidia team also did not understand, although there were only 2 central defenders in the penalty area just now, but it was not so easy to let Lin Chen score the ball. The 2 central defenders of the Cercidia team also smiled helplessly and bitterly in the face of the questioning eyes of their teammates. Did they want to tell their teammates that they couldn't prevent Lin Chen at all? Whether it was close to the body, direct shoveling, or using small movements, Lin Chen seemed to be treating their defense as nothing, and there was no way to affect it. And the team has paid enough attention to Lin Chen, whether it is in the pre-match arrangement or on the field. There are at least 3 players to defend Lin Chen, or cut off the passing route of other players in Castilla to Lin Chen. Even so, Lin Chen was still able to score. The Cercidia, who were behind at this time, didn't seem to know how to play. Chapter 24. Far away in China, fans saw Lin Chen score again, and their mood was irrepressibly excited. Chinese players scored 2 goals in a row in Europe. Even if it is only in the field of the 2nd Division B, this kind of scene Chinese fans have not seen for a long time. What's more, in this short 12-minute game, Lin Chen not only showed a keen sense of smell in front of the goal and the ability to grab points, but even dribbling skills can be seen in Lin Chen, a high school forward. Such a comprehensive player turned out to be Chinese. If it hadn't been confirmed long ago, Chinese fans wouldn't be able to believe it now. On the Internet of Understanding Ball, at the same time as Lin Chen scored twice, he also released the match report. Those fans who could not see the live broadcast poured into the comment area at this time to tout Lin Chen's goal. Scoring again? Does happiness come so quickly? Just opened the game and scored twice. What kind of monster is this? It is really lucky for Chinese fans to have players like Lin Chen playing in Europe. After seeing Lin Chen's ability to score goals so strongly, Chinese fans couldn't help but look forward to Lin Chen's future. Rational analysis: does Lin Chen have the ability to enter the first team now? Didn't Ronaldo say that he was leaving? I will let Lin Chen be the thigh of the team after I see it. It's only been less than 4 games in La Liga, so it's a bit unrealistic for Lin Chen to play La Liga. No blowing or black, with Lin Chen's current ability to enter the first team is no problem at all, but I think it is better to go to the first team to make a cold bench than to play in the West BB. In my opinion, there is probably no hope for this season, and next season Lin Chen will either enter the first team of Real Madrid or go to other giants. Although everyone's opinions are different, they are very optimistic about Lin Chen's future, and think that Lin Chen is a good choice whether he goes to the Real Madrid first team or other teams. While Chinese fans were discussing the game hotly, someone moved the newly released blog post of Dejuan News to the online knowledge. Dejuan revealed, Bayern Munich offered a huge transfer fee to Castilla to buy Lin Chen. The article introduced that the Bundesliga overlord had offered a transfer fee of €500 in order to buy Lin Chen, but Castile did not agree, but directly announced that Lin Chen was not for sale by the team. As soon as the post was issued, it was immediately praised by fans. Is Bayern moving so fast? This is eyeing Lin Chen. It is estimated that Lewandowski is looking for a replacement, and now Bayern's central forward replacement Wagner is not young. The first time I saw a Chinese player so sought after by a big team. Buying a young player with €500 can be described as a sky-high price. Castilla so decisively refused. It seems that Lin Chen will definitely enter the first team of Real Madrid. For the offer from Bayern, the Chinese fans are also very happy. There is a feeling that the university scholar who came out of the village is now being rushed by major companies. As a Chinese fan who is also from the village, he naturally has a sense of excitement with honor. At this time, the game continues. Castilla was not satisfied with a 2-1 scoreline, with Lin Chen in it. Only scoring 2 goals is a bit too much for Lin Chen's title of goal machine. Castilla launched wave after wave of attacks against the Cercidia team. 30 minutes. Lin Chen once again found an opportunity in the penalty area. Fidalgo snatched the ball up front and kept making passes with Sioni from the edge of the box. It immediately attracted the attention of most of the defenders of the Cercidia team. When the ball was at Fidalgo's feet again, Fidalgo then kicked straight at the penalty area line and the ball slipped past the Cercidia fullback. And the direction of the ball is exactly where Lin Chen is. Lin Chen did not rush to shoot after receiving the ball, and first took a few steps forward, wanting to throw off the central defender Sands, who was in place. But Sands has been chasing very tightly. Lin Chen has no room to get up and shoot, and when Lin Chen hesitates, Sands directly goes on to steal. Lin Chen was careless for a while, and almost didn't control the ball, only to see that the ball bounced directly under the snatching of both sides. Seeing that the ball was about to fly out of the sideline, Lin Chen no longer controlled his posture, directly stepped on the line of the small penalty area with his right foot to jump, and then threw his entire body out, and hooked the ball with his left foot. Volley. The commentator also directly shouted when he saw Lin Chen's actions. 100% goal rate, right now. The ball spun sharply and went straight to the top right corner of the goal. Absolute dead end. Cerceda's goalkeeper Orlo watched as the ball flew into the net. The players of Castilla were also stunned when they saw Lin Chen's ball. Can this all go in? Then everyone rushed towards Lin Chen in unison, pressing him under him. Boy! You're amazing. It was Fidalgo who spoke, and as a front court player who was away from Lin Chen when he scored, Fidalgo saw it very well. This goal can be said to be extremely difficult, and it can even be compared to the barbed world wave of the Champions League match of the first team the other day. The fans of Castilla were also amazed by Lin Chen's volley, and Lin Chen's name resounded throughout the Di Stefano Stadium. Fans now even think that Lin Chen should not only stay in Castilla, go directly to the first team, and let the La Liga team see how good their Real Madrid youth training is. Chapter 25. 30 minutes hat-trick. In Raúl's coaching career, he has never seen a goal-scoring center like Castilla and Lin Chen. Using the goal machine to describe it may not be applicable to Lin Chen. After all, the machine will also malfunction, but Lin Chen has maintained an extremely terrifying goal efficiency for 4 consecutive games. If when Lin Chen entered Castile, someone told Raúl that Lin Chen was the hope of Castile's future, Raúl would definitely disdain. But in less than a month, the ability that Lin Chen showed simply made the entire Castile jaw drop. Who would have thought that a month ago, Lin Chen was just a player who couldn't play in the youth academy? The head coach of the Cercedia team, Sith, has completely put aside his illusions at this time, allowing the team to defend with all its strength for the time being. Now Sith only hopes that Lin Chen will be replaced quickly. After all, Lin Chen only played half in the previous games. It may be a little ridiculous, as Castilla's opponent, the manager actually hopes that the opposing core players will be replaced, but this is the Sith's best tactic and the most helpless tactic in his heart now. In the ensuing game time, under the full defense of the Cerceda team, the game was also deadlocked. Castilla's players simply could not penetrate this entire 10-man back line and send the ball to Lin Chen's feet. With the referee's whistle, the first half of the game ended, and Lin Chen did not continue to score again. Castilla dressing room. Raúl gave Lin Chen a big hug. 3 more goals. I don't even know how to compliment you now. In the face of Raúl's praise, Lin Chen instead ridiculed Raúl. It's all thanks to the wise guidance of the head coach and the tireless efforts of your teammates. The other teammates also laughed when they heard Lin Chen's words. Everyone knows that Lin Chen's performance is not something that can be played by their cooperation alone. This is a player who can completely change the direction of the game with his own. After the start of the second half, Raúl also unsurprisingly replaced Lin Chen and let Pedro come off the bench. At this time, the head coach of the Cercedia team also breathed an instant sigh of relief and let the players start attacking. Although there was no problem with this operation, it completely annoyed Pedro, who had just started. What do you mean? I started attacking when I came on the field, and I was a good center forward, right? Although Pedro knew that he was not as good as Lin Chen, in the face of this naked humiliation, Pedro also held a breath in his heart. In the time that followed, Cerceda faced Castilla, with Pedro and Sione scoring 1 each to make it 5-3. Post-match interview. A reporter asked Raúl what he thought of Lin Chen, a player. Lin Chen? I'm curious that you would ask such a question. Everyone knows that he is an indispensable player for us at Castilla. As for the evaluation, I want to say that Lin Chen is the most talented player I have ever seen. At this time, another reporter asked Raúl about the recent transfer rumors. Mr. Raúl, may I ask the recent news that Bayern Munich offered Lin Chen a transfer fee of 5 million euros, is this true? Raúl smiled slightly when he heard this. As for the transfer news, you should go and ask the transfer director of the team, not me. But since you asked this question, I should answer it too. I want to say that no matter who makes the offer, Castilla will never agree, because Lin Chen is our non-sale, even the future of Real Madrid. Raúl left the interview scene immediately after speaking. The future of Real Madrid. The reporters were a little surprised to hear this, although Lin Chen's performance in Castile was very bright, but it was too much to praise Lin Chen as the future of Real Madrid. Later, after the reporters released the content of the interview, Raúl's remarks also caused a lot of turmoil in the outside world. The day after the game ended. Inside the Castilla base, Lin Chen continued his daily training as usual. After a month of competition, Lin Chen is now the absolute core player of the team. Perhaps because Lin Chen is very approachable, the team members who were not familiar with him are also in good relations with Lin Chen. For the enthusiasm of his teammates, Lin Chen was not easy to avoid, and he didn't want to refuse. In fact, Lin Chen did not have many friends in Spain before, even his relatives, since he played football in the ocean at the age of 15. Lin Chen was alone in the Real Madrid Youth Academy. But this is also good, saving a lot of trouble, allowing Lin Chen to focus more on improving himself. At this time, Raúl came from outside the training ground and beckoned Lin Chen over. "Lin Chen, how was the training today?" Raúl first asked an innocuous word, and Lin Chen replied as usual. Then Raúl changed his style, and the question he asked made Lin Chen also slightly stunned. "Do you want to play in the first team? If you want, I can recommend it for you." As soon as these words came out, Lin Chen tried to restrain his excitement and then said in a firm tone, "I'm willing to go to the first team." Chapter 26. Raúl's words are undoubtedly the biggest affirmation of Lin Chen's recent performance. Perhaps for other players, it may sound a bit fanciful to be recommended to the first team just after entering Castilla, but this does not apply to Lin Chen. As of now, Lin Chen has scored a full 14 goals in 4 games in Castilla, and such a terrifying goal efficiency is basically matched by any player in the history of the Castilla team. In fact, when Zidane came to Castilla to observe Lin Chen's training, Raúl recommended Lin Chen to Zidane. But for some reason, Zidane just looked at it for a moment and then shook his head and left. For Zidane's inner thoughts, Raúl, as the old captain, may also be able to guess a little, but he is not very sure, so he just said to Lin Chen that he could recommend it. But is getting into the first team really the best option? Lin Chen also calmed down after a short period of excitement and seriously considered this issue. Although the rumors of Cristiano Ronaldo's departure from Real Madrid are becoming increasingly noisy, even if Cristiano Ronaldo leaves, Real Madrid's first-team forward reserve is very top-notch. Not to mention Benzema, Bale, even the quality of substitute Marco Asensio is at the top of any team. The nearly 21-year-old Spanish goblin came to Real Madrid for a transfer fee of Euro 390 in the 16th season, and although he did not score many goals in his 2 seasons, he still maintained a league appearance rate of more than 20 games a year. It can be seen that coach Zidane still admires this player, but the strength of other Real Madrid strikers is too dazzling to cover his brilliance. As the super team of La Liga, Real Madrid, the Galaxy Giant, can enter his first team to play is naturally the dream of countless players. But Lin Chen also understands in his heart that with his current strength, he is not able to stand firm in the first team of Real Madrid. Although his physical ability is very outstanding and he also has the buff of a goalscorer's instinct, in La Liga, one of the 5 major leagues, the attacking and defensive pressure faced by Real Madrid's first team is not at the level of the current La B League. Therefore, Lin Chen now needs more powerful and comprehensive attributes to deal with various challenges that may come in the future. So Lin Chen thought for a while and said to Raúl, "Maybe going to the first team right now is not the best option and I still need to keep playing to improve myself. Not spending me on loan to a mid-table team in the top 5 leagues next season will also allow me to better adapt to the pace of the first team. In the winter window, I can come back if the team needs me." Lin Chen's words, Raúl was a little surprised. After all, not everyone can resist the temptation of the Real Madrid first team. "Maybe your idea is more comprehensive, and I will seriously consider this suggestion. If the club agrees, I will loan you out if there is a suitable team." Raúl agreed with Lin Chen's suggestion, and then made a promise with Lin Chen. But Lin Chen does not pin all his hopes on loan to play. Now what Lin Chen needs most is to score goals and need more attribute points to improve himself. Later, Lin Chen and Raúl said that they hoped to play the whole game to better exercise themselves. At first, Raúl was a little worried that Lin Chen's goal efficiency would provoke malicious retaliation from the other party, but Lin Chen immediately promised that as long as something was wrong, he would end the game. Raúl thought carefully for a while and felt that there was nothing wrong with this, and Raul also thought that it was too wasteful to let Lin Chen play only half a game, and it was not good for Lin Chen's career development, and then agreed to Lin Chen's request. Due to the international break, there was a gap of almost 2 weeks for the last match against Cerceda. In fact, in these 2 weeks, Lin Chen has been thinking about whether it is the best choice for him to enter the first team of Real Madrid, although Real Madrid looks glamorous and is a super team in La Liga, but Lin Chen knows that things inside the Real Madrid dressing room are also upsetting enough. Lin Chen later found that he didn't have to think about it so much now. Improving his ability was the first priority, and if even his strength could not meet the requirements of the first team, then these considerations were undoubtedly self-inflicted. And Lin Chen has been wondering if training hard will improve his ability. Finally, after a special training, Lin Chen's questions were answered. After a breakthrough training for Lin Chen in San Diego, Lin Chen opened the attribute panel and found that his breakthrough ability value had increased from 50 to 52. Although there were only 2 points of improvement, for Lin Chen, any increase in attributes was an affirmation of his hard training. Even, the feeling of being rewarded after this kind of hard work made him feel even happier than Lin Chen's direct addition. 2 weeks flew by. Soon, the team was ready for their next match, home to Fuenlabrada. Lin Chen is also looking forward to this match, because this is the first game after Raul agreed to play the whole game. Chapter 27. April 22nd. Castilla hosts Fuenlabrada. Due to Raul's remarks in the post-match interview, some media also came to pay special attention to this game, wanting to see what kind of player Raul said the future of Real Madrid. As the leader of La B this season, Fuenlabrada's head coach Casmond does not think that Lin Chen is as good as everyone boasts. Casmond believes that the reason for Castilla's big victory in previous games is often because Lin Chen was scared and began to shrink his defense in less than half time. In this way, the original leader Castilla played very relaxed, and his own players could only passively accept Lin Chen's wanton attack. So in this game, Fuenlabrada chose to take a direct approach to Castilla to see who attacks sharper. Raul was also a little surprised to see Fuenlabrada put up a 3,421 formation. This was the first time that someone dared to form a backline with only 3 defenders in front of Lin Chen. However, thinking of Fuenlabrada as the current leader of the league naturally has his arrogance. At 6 p.m. local time, the game officially began. In the face of the opponent's attack, Sioni was also a little panicked under the pressure, and directly gave the ball to the opposite striker Ruben at the back. The rest of Castilla's backcourt players may not have expected that there would be someone who dared to play against him, and was inattentively rushed directly into the box by Rowan, facing goalkeeper Moja, and Rowan directly scored the ball. 0-1. Just 2 minutes into the game, Castilla was scored, which everyone expected. Raul was very upset at this time and shouted directly to the players. Is the off-season too long and you forgot how to play? Castilla's players couldn't help but feel ashamed when they heard this. Fuenlabrada's head coach Casmond was also very happy when he saw Raul's face. This is Castilla? That's not all. However, this mood was quickly wiped out by Lin Chen's lightning equalizer goal. Opening 5th minute. Castilla adjusted his mental state and prepared to fight with the Fuenlabrada team, which was bound to completely subdue the arrogant Fuenlabrada team. Lin Chen also had the same idea. How could he let others steal the limelight in his first game that he could play the whole game? In the middle circle, Sioni handed the ball to Alex, who was hovering on the touchline, and because Fuenlabrada took a 3-back formation, the latter received the ball without being hindered and rushed to the front of the penalty area. Then he kicked straight and handed the ball to Lin Chen, who inserted diagonally into the box. Fuenlabrada naturally would not let Lin Chen take the ball so easily, and central defender Fran followed Lin Chen closely, wanting to force Lin Chen out of the penalty area. But Lin Chen ignored Fran's harassment and directly brought the ball into the small penalty area. When Lin Chen stepped on the small penalty area, he directly got up and hit the goal, and the ball almost slid to the goal against the touchline. 1-1. Within 3 minutes, the match was pulled back to a draw. It was equalized so quickly, and now it was Casmond's turn to be upset. But the Castilla players did not celebrate too much, and even the fans simply applauded Lin Chen. Seeing this, Casmond also had a trace of doubt in his heart. Don't you celebrate your goals? But where did Casmond know that he had completely angered Castilla? The game started again, and Castilla gradually stabilized the situation. 35th minute. As soon as the Fuenlabrada team was about to break in with the ball, they were forced down by Sione and Federico together, and then hung a long pass directly into the box. The players of the Fuenlabrada team were also a little confused when they saw this ball, which is where to kick. But in the next second, Lin Chen appeared in the forbidden area. It turned out that at the time of the steal, Lin Chen had already run to the opponent's penalty area, and at the moment of Sione's pass, Lin Chen crossed the last defender and faced the penalty area. In the penalty area, Lin Chen did not hesitate in the face of the flying ball and directly volleyed. Boom! The ball flew up at high speed and fell again, straight into the goal. World wave. In the midst of an exclamation from the fans of Castilla, the ball also went into the net. 2-1. Kazman finally felt something was wrong, but it was too late. With another burst of fans' celebrations, Lin Chen scored with a header in the penalty area. 3-1. While the opposing goalkeeper was still upset, the half-game ended. After a short break, the game starts again. The following time seemed to become Lin Chen's solo performance. Header scored. Steal goals directly in the box. Lin Chen kicked with his head and scored goals one after another. When the score came to 5-1, Lin Chen had also completed the 5 Sundenko. The Fuenlabrada team has been completely blinded. What kind of monster player is this? It can't be guarded at all. Kazman's face turned livid at this time, and his 3-guard formation was completely inadequate in front of Lin Chen, as if he was being teased by the opposite side like a toy. Raul was completely shocked by Lin Chen's performance at this time, and couldn't help but wonder where Lin Chen's limit was. Chapter 28. The game is far from over. Sione received a pass from Forlan on the left and cut forward diagonally, and the players in the back line were immediately attracted to attention. After being blocked by the opponent, Thione passed the ball to Lin Chen's feet, and Lin Chen, who was standing on the edge of the penalty area, looked at the entire 5 defenders in the box and did not rush forward. Lin Chen adjusted his posture after receiving the ball, stood with his right foot in the big penalty area, and his body suddenly twisted into a bow shape at the moment when his left foot hit the ball. The ball flew up instantly, cutting an arc in the air and heading straight for the goal. World wave. The commentary was also amazed at the beauty of the ball and exclaimed. The ball flies into the dead corner of the goal. The score is rewritten again. 6-1. If Lin Chen is the dancer on the court, then Di Stefano Stadium is a stage to show his posture. Castilla has gone completely crazy, and under the strong attack, the Fuenlabrada team has completely lost the idea of playing. They just wanted to escape the stadium, but looking at the time displayed on the big screen, it was only 72 minutes. In the stands. All the fans of Castilla can't believe this scene in front of them. Is this really a striker from their own youth academy? That's too strong. It is beyond everyone's expectations that an adult team like Fuenlabrada can play at such a level, and the other side is the leader of the league. Now that the season is coming to an end, as a team that has been promoted to the second division, Lin Chen actually defeated the Fuenlabrada team. Where is Lin Chen's limit? Fans want to see it. One more. The cheers of the Castilla fans rose and fell, and they wanted to see Lin Chen continue to score. Raul was naturally happy to see this situation, applauded the team's performance, and then arranged for the team to continue the attack. It is bound to leave a painful lesson for the Fuenlabrada team. 80th minute. Rodriguez dribbled the ball to the wing and crossed with 9 players in the box. With the moment the ball arrived in the penalty area, everyone became a pot of porridge, and Lin Chen also failed to grab the header. When the defenders of the Fuenlabrada team were in a panic and wanted to kick the ball out of the siege, Lin Chen forced away the 2 defenders in front of him. With a hard poke on his toes, although the goalkeeper had reacted, he still could not reach out and hook the ball, so the ball slipped into the goal under the gaze of all the players. 7-1. 7 stars in a row. Lin Chen has already gone crazy. The Di Stefano Stadium is completely boiling. The fans chanted Lin Chen's name. If you are on the opponent's stadium, this score can not only be said to beat the opponent, but even directly hit the opposing fans and shout for the head coach to leave class. Go ahead. Go on. In the stands. The cries of Castilla fans are rising wave after wave. The Fuenlabrada players were a little dazed when they heard the crazy shouts of the fans. Why did we fight like this? When the players of the Fuenlabrada team turned their eyes to the dugout, they found that the head coach Kazman had disappeared. It turned out that when everyone was celebrating Lin Chen's 7th ball, Kazmand left the coach's dugout with a livid face and left the stadium directly. There wasn't much time left for the Fernlavrada team to think. 85th minute. Lin Chen once again jumped high in the box and put the ball high into the goal. 8-1. Castilla fans seem to have seen a black bomber bombarding the goal of the Fernlavrada team. Lin Chen. Hysterical cries resounded throughout the Di Stefano Stadium. At this time, far away in China, the Chinese fans who were watching the live broadcast of the game were also shocked to the point that they could not speak for a long time after seeing Lin Chen score 8 goals in a single game. When have you ever seen Chinese players abuse European teams so much on the field? No. Lin Chen is the first. Excited Chinese fans took screenshots of the game and posted it in the circle of friends to record this historic moment. Although Lin Chen is only in the West B field now, all Chinese fans believe that Lin Chen, who is only 18 years old, will definitely have a bigger stage in the future. Facing the Fernlavrada team, who was about to be promoted to the Western Second Division, Lin Chen completed a massacre alone. In the dugout, Raul shook his head in disbelief, as if he had seen a monster venting wantonly on the court. Unit players scored 8 goals in a single game. This has already broken the record for Castilla's solo goal. Facing the Fernlavrada team, who is about to be promoted to the second division, Lin Chen can still show his terrifying goal efficiency, and Raul can't help but wonder which team can stop Lin Chen's goal. Now, Lin Chen has no team able to prevent him in the West B field. Raul thought to himself as he looked at the Castilla players celebrating on the pitch. Maybe the lower leagues are no longer suitable for Lin Chen. Chapter 29. The game ended up freezing the score at 9-1. Lin Chen also scored another goal in the final 3 minutes of stoppage time. 9 goals per game. If being able to score a hat-trick is already a wonderful performance for the players, then Lin Chen's match is equivalent to completing 3 hat-tricks. After the game, the fans of the entire Di Stefano Stadium stood up and applauded Lin Chen. They are witnessing the birth of a genius. The rise of a great striker. If there is no applause for players like Lin Chen, then maybe no one in the entire Castilla is worthy of it, and maybe there will not be in the future. While everyone was happy about Castilla's big victory, Lin Chen, who scored 9 goals alone, couldn't be happy. It turned out that when Lin Chen scored the 9th goal, his attribute points did not grow, he was still at 11 points, Lin Chen couldn't help but feel a little lost, and his plan to brush attribute points fell through. However, Lin Chen immediately understood that the level of ShiBB could no longer increase attribute points for himself. After the game, Lin Chen took the initiative to find head coach Raul and expressed his thoughts, wanting to challenge himself in a higher level of the league. Raul naturally agreed to Lin Chen's request, but he didn't expect Lin Chen's idea to be so urgent. However, when Raul recalled that in the previous 5 games, Lin Chen scored more than 20 goals, he also sighed that the level of the current West BB is indeed not suitable for Lin Chen. Immediately, Raul also said that there was a suitable rental offer, and he would notify Lin Chen as soon as possible. The next day. Perhaps yesterday's game was a bit too disparate and the opponent was also a team that was about to be promoted to the second division. Therefore, various football media have also reported on Castilla's big victory, and Lin Chen, who scored 9 goals alone, naturally became the focus of the news. Spanish Football Post, after Morata, Castilla returns to the talented striker. 90 minutes, 9 goals in a single game. Huagua Jr. will set a record for Castile. Madrid Sports Morning News, Estadio Di Stefano welcomes their prince again. Even Madrid's most famous local media Marca newspaper wrote an article detailing Lin Chen's player deeds. For a while, Lin Chen became a hot player in Madrid and even Spain, and many fans knew that Castile had another talented striker, and this rising star was rising at a very fast pace. The news media reported Lin Chen with such fanfare, which naturally attracted the attention of many team scouts. The next day. Inside the Castilla training base. The team's transfer director Emilio is almost inundated today with transfers, loan offers from other teams, and new offers are sent from the team from time to time. From the secondary league to the league such as the Portuguese Eredivisie, and even some big teams, all of them have shown great interest in Lin Chen. When Raul came to the office, Emilio said to Raul with an excited look on his face, holding a quote. "Look, Bayern sent another offer, hoping to buy Lin Chen for 1,000 euros, and gave 40% of the subsequent transfer income clause. Originally, Raul was still a little puzzled about what kind of offer made Castilla's transfer director so excited. 1,000 euros may not be nothing, after all. In terms of Lin Chen's performance and age, 1,000 euros is even a little less, but after hearing Emilio say 40% of the transfer income, Raul couldn't help but be a little surprised. This is equivalent to Bayern buying Lin Chen for 1,000 euros, and then if Lin Chen transfers again, he will have to pay another 40% of the transfer fee to Castile. That is to say, if Lin Chen is sold to Bayern now, regardless of whether Lin Chen can be played out in the future, Castilla will not lose money, kicking out half of the higher transfer fee in the future, and has already earned 1,000 euros without kicking out. This kind of condition is a little heartwarming even for Emilio, who has seen strong winds and waves. But Raul just shook his head. Are there any other offers? I mean a loan offer from a certain team. Emilio was also a little sorry to see that Raul was not moved, and then shrugged and said, I understand what you mean, this loan offer is from Schalke 04. Emilio took out the quotation that had been prepared long ago from the table and handed it to Raul. He naturally understood that Raul liked and optimized Lin Chen, and even such an offer from Bayern could not impress Raul. But it was still a little surprising that Raul used his old team connections for Lin Chen. Raul joined Schalke 04 in season 10, and although he only played for 2 short seasons, Raul still has a good relationship with Schalke 04 chairman Clemens. Emilio then said to Raul, this offer is not good, but there is a recall clause at any time, which may be very suitable for Lin Chen. Raul took the quotation and looked at it twice, and after feeling that there was no problem, he said goodbye to Emilio and found Lin Chen. On the training ground, Raul called Lin Chen, who was training, and then took the loan offer of Schalke 04 to Lin Chen. Bundesliga team Schalke 04, I think it should meet your requirements. Lin Chen was also a little surprised that a Bundesliga team wanted to loan him so quickly. How's that, want to go? Hearing Raul ask himself like this, Lin Chen naturally agreed very happily. I want to go to a higher level of league and meet the challenge. Chapter 30. At the end of yesterday's game, after hearing Lin Chen's thoughts, Raul immediately thought of Schalke 04. So he dialed the phone of Chairman Clemens, and after receiving Raul's sworn assurance, he also agreed to Lin Chen going to Schalke 04. Because Lin Chen's youth training contract is about to expire. So Raul resecured a new contract for Lin Chen, and this contract, the salary level has been greatly increased, which can be regarded as the highest youth training contract in Castile. This is the importance that Raul and Real Madrid Castilla attached to Lin Chen. During the loan period, Castile bears all the costs of Lin Chen, which is naturally nothing for the wealthy Castile. At the same time, let Lin Chen go to Schalke 04, the most important thing is that there is a recall clause at the end of the contract. Since Schalke 04 is in the Bundesliga, there is no worry about playing for 2 teams in the same league in the same season. Real Madrid can recall Lin Chen back to the parent team at any time. Raul helped himself so selflessly, and in a foreign country, Lin Chen felt the warmth of others for the first time. And Lin Chen knows that although this loan contract is very beneficial to his development, it is not the slightest benefit for the loan team. It can only serve as a platform for leveling, and it also faces the impact of being recalled at any time. It can be seen that Raul naturally spent a lot of effort for such a loan contract. After that, Raul also gave Lin Chen a guarantee. As long as Lin Chen is willing to come back in the winter window, Real Madrid is always welcome and is a first-team team. After Lin Chen heard Raul's assurance, Lin Chen was a little moved, and also gave a guarantee. I will definitely come back. Perhaps knowing the news that Lin Chen was leaving the team, the players also sent blessings to Lin Chen, and the captain Sioni was even more sad. Although he has only been with Lin Chen for less than 2 months, Sioni has been completely conquered by Lin Chen's personality, charm and ball skills. Boy, when you get to the Bundesliga, don't embarrass our Real Madrid youth training. Sioni pursed his lips after hugging Lin Chen and said, You won't have seen me play, don't you know how fierce I am? Just wait for me to bloodily abuse the Bundesliga. In order to ease the somewhat sad atmosphere, Lin Chen said to Sioni with a slight exaggeration. Besides, it's not that I'm not coming back. When the teammates heard Lin Chen's funny words, they also laughed out loud. But the players of Castilla knew in their hearts that although Lin Chen would return, he might not return to Castilla. With Lin Chen's ability, after the training of the Bundesliga, he will definitely join the first team directly, so the next days may be the last time to be teammates with Lin Chen. 2 days later. Castilla are in their penultimate game of the season, away to SS Reyes. Thanks to the previous matches, Castilla has won big wins in succession and is already in the upper middle of the table, and although there is no possibility of promotion, this point is completely enough for relegation. So Raul also adopted a large-scale rotation in this game. And Lin Chen, in order to ensure his state, Raul also let Lin Chen continue to start, but there were no requirements. After the start of the game, SS Reyes seemed to be frightened by Castilla's recent record and directly chose the defenseless formation. Even though Raul used a large number of substitutes in this game, seeing that Lin Chen was still on the field, he began to put up the bus as soon as he started. Lin Chen was also a little helpless, and directly shook his head and sighed. It's really not interesting to kick this West B again. And now scoring goals in the West B can no longer improve the attribute point. Lin Chen simply does not run to the penalty area. But the new substitute team can be a little anxious. He came on the field to assist Lin Chen. What does it mean that you don't enter the penalty area? So the picture on the court began to be a little strange. On the one hand, SS Reyes was shrunk in his own half and could not even reach the halfway line. On the other hand, the Castilla players gave the ball to Lin Chen, who was dangling in the middle circle. Lin Chen gave the ball to the front court, and the front team members saw that Lin Chen did not run forward and handed Lin Chen back. This scene also made the Chinese fans who were watching the live broadcast suddenly happy, and commented under the animation broadcast of the net. Laugh at me, what are these substitutes doing? The team is hammered. If they are not in the restricted area, the players do not dare to attack. What is the Imperial Throne? It was also the first time that Chinese fans saw a Chinese player with such a status on the European field, and after a short period of surprise, they began to work in the comment area and on the sidelines. Raul saw this scene but had a different idea. Could it be because I'm about to leave the team, and I'm sad in my heart? Raul thought for a while and felt that Lin Chen was probably unwilling to play because he was in a relatively low mood, so he arranged for Pedro to warm up and prepare to replace Lin Chen. After the game, Raul found Lin Chen and said in a firm tone, "You will always be a child of Real Madrid. Don't care about leaving at this time." After Raul finished speaking, he turned around and left, leaving only Lin Chen, who was still stunned in place.